Hello there guys, welcome to Dinos Vault. Welcome to my first ride review of the Benelli Imperiale 400. Does it have what it takes to give the likes of Royal Enfield really a tough time and stiff competition? That's what we're going to find out in today's first ride review. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, happy Diwali to all of you out there. I'm pretty damn sure that this bike, the Imperiale 400, is gonna let sparks fly when it comes to giving other bikes in its price range a run for their money. You guys know I've already done a detailed walk around overview of this bike, and you can watch that video by following the link in the description portion below. So just for the sake of it, I'll run you guys through with the relevant specs of this bike. Powering this bike is a 374cc single cylinder air cooled fuel injected 4-valve engine that puts out a max power of 21 PS at 5500 RPM and a max torque of 29 Newton meters at 4500 RPM. We get a 5-speed gearbox. Talking about the brakes, we get a 300mm disc up front and a 240mm disc at the back. We get dual channel ABS as standard, which is not switchable. Talking about the suspension, we get 41mm telescopic forks up front and twin gas charged shock absorbers with preload adjustability at the back. Talking about the tires, we get TVS tires. We get a 19-inch wheel with a 100/90 tire up front and an 18-inch wheel with a 130/80 tire at the back. Talking about the speedo console, we get a part analog, part digital twin dial setup, and it does offer a gear position indicator and a fuel gauge, which is really good. Seat height is 780mm, ground clearance is 165mm, and tank capacity is 12 liters. The bike weighs 205 kgs. The bike has been launched with a really killer price tag of just rupees 1.69 lakhs ex-showroom. Well, now that we're done with the specs, let's go ahead with my top speed, braking test and ride impression video. So the initial impression, right off the mark, I really love the rumble and the initial torque right off the mark. Wow. Whoa. Once you cross 60-70 kilometers per hour, that's when the motorcycle really comes alive. The bass heavy exhaust note, the linear acceleration, and the torquey nature of the engine truly comes alive. Wow! People would love to cruise on a machine such as this. What a feeling! A typical 70s roadster kind of a feel. The rumble is there, the thump is there, the bass heavy exhaust note is there, and it is sheer class. Wow, Benelli, you guys have nailed it. We still have one more gear to go. We got a 5-speed gearbox and we're cruising at around 90-95 kilometers per hour. It's the sweet spot kind of a feel that you get. Suspension is perfectly sorted out. Dual channel ABS with the 300mm front disc. The brakes are brilliant. Wow, the overtaking happens just like that. And the rumble is like the thunder rolling. This could have been named the Thunder 400. Wow, I just love the feel. The old school riders are gonna love this. the raw feel of the retro motorcycles from the 70s is clearly apparent. So let's just quickly turn around. If possible, we'll do a quick acceleration test. I believe was pretty easy. We have another long straight in front of us with the wind behind us. Let's give it one more shot. Morning ride on an age-old classic. Wow, this is the perfect throwback to the motorcycling culture from the 70s and maybe even the 60s. The suspension is perfectly sorted out. You have a nice and plush ride quality. So suspension is perfectly sorted out, nice and plush ride quality at lower speeds, and the seating posture is so bang on. Nice and wide handlebar, forward set foot pegs. You can ride on this all day long. The seat is perfectly cushioned. It's not too soft, because overly soft seats also tend to give you a butt ache after a while, after long rides. So the seat is perfectly cushioned, and the twin dial instrument panel comes perfectly equipped with the gear position indicator, the fuel gauge, and it really, captivates your senses in terms of giving you a nostalgic feeling that you're riding those two-stroke classic vintage machines. But the best part, refinement is there. Yes, lower down in the RPMs, maybe you'll feel a bit of vibes, but that's negligible, because the moment you ring the throttle wide open, the vibrations vanish and there's no trace of it. And that's the best part about this motorcycle, because at cruising speeds there's hardly any vibration apparent, and most people would love to tour on this motorcycle. And for them, this is pure joy. Now, talking about the heat management and the engine heating, well, on my way back yesterday on this motorcycle, I was coming through the peak hour traffic, so the streets were chock-a-block with city traffic, and yes, it did heat up, but it's something that's bearable. It's not unbearable amount of heat. It's understandable, because at the end of the day, you have 374cc single cylinder air cooled engine, which is fuel injected, of course, but then you do feel the heat when you're caught in bumper to bumper traffic. Now, another good thing about this motorcycle are the brakes. We do get dual channel ABS as standard. We get a 300mm disc up front and a 240mm disc at the back. So now I guess it's time for standard braking test. 60 kilometers per hour and slam on the brakes. Wow, that was pretty cool and pretty smooth. So seriously impressive, without any uncertainty or jittery behavior. The bike did come to a standstill in a very controlled manner, and the acceleration is really smooth and linear. At the same time, you have that torquey feel the moment you ring the throttle wide open. Wow, that surge, especially post that 60-70 kilometers per hour, is to die for. People would love to take this for touring, and would love to take it out for weekend rides, wide open roads. That's where this motorcycle is most enjoyable, because the actual character of the bike truly comes alive when you take it to the highways or the vast open stretches of road. And yes, perfect weather, soothing gentle breeze. It just doesn't get better than this. This is what motorcycling is all about. I mean, it helps you rejuvenate your soul and refresh your mind completely. This early morning ride works like meditation, at least for us bikers, and I'm sure you can try this and experience it for yourself. That's the reason people relate to motorcycling as a form of therapy, as a form of getaway dimension. And boy, this is sheer bliss. And yes, the Imperiale 400 continues to impress me with its unshakable character, and the performance is great, the stability is great, the build quality is amazing. It's built like a tank. And yes, we have a worthy competitor to give the Royal Enfield Brigade and the likes, maybe the Jawas and the others, a run for their money, because we have a force to reckon with entering this segment with a bang and with all its might. So that's pretty much it. The clutch feel is slightly on the heavier side. I just wish we had the adjustable lever for the clutch to adjust the reach, but that's okay. That gives you a rustic feel of these old school motorcycles that celebrate the retro lineage that holds true to their character. So summing things up, the engine is nice and torquey and refined. The acceleration is good. You have this good mid-range surge and a strong mid-range, so that's what we look for in a roadster. And tank capacity could have been better. 12 liters feels a little too less. At least a 15-liter tank could have given could have offered good tank range. The seats are comfortable. The riding posture is just about bang on and perfect. And yes, the mirrors could be slightly wider to offer a slightly wider field of view. That's one thing I could figure out. And everything else, the high-speed stability is great thanks to the long wheelbase and the larger tires. You have a 19-incher up front and an 18-inch rear wheel. We also get a 130 section, a wider rear tire to give you that extra bit of confidence while tackling corners. So yes, overall an absolute winner from Benelli India, and I'm sure it's going to change their fortunes, and it's going to make Benelli India a force to reckon with in the entry-level premium bike segment. Well, I guess this wraps up my review. I just hope you found this video useful. Until next time, this is Dino saying ciao, take care, God bless, and ride safe.